I'll continue the letter now that ran out on the other page. I think I got as far, then they will return to New York and embark for France. I don't know their itinerary, but I do hope they get to say hi to you one way or the other. I don't think I thanked you as yet for that candy Easter egg. It arrived just after I had written you the last letter. It was delicious as usual, and we enjoyed every bite of it so much. Thanks so very much. Then she continued the letter on May the 7th. It was started on April the 30th, so a weekend elapsed. This is awful, but here I am at Kathy's lesson again, a whole week after I started this letter. Of course, you know all about the baby by now from Mother, and also that they are leaving tomorrow for the East. Our special news this week is about Roy's job. He got a very nice promotion, and we are so happy about it. His receiving, and he is receiving an amazing amount of recognition at this place. No more than he deserves, of course, but it certainly is a change from the other job he had. We have now started Kathy on her orthodontical work with the first examination last week. It will probably be a 2.5 year program with the real work beginning just before school starts in the fall. The doctor is a man who did Roy's work, so we have great deal of confidence in him. The plaster cast he made of Roy's jaw and teeth are on file in his office, and he showed them to us. The improvement is really unbelievable. I just finished signing the girls up for camp for this summer. Kathy will go to the mountains in August to the scout camp, and Kim will go for 2 weeks of day camp in July. The day camp is right at home in Oak Grove Park, and as a result of a long, long story, I am not only on the staff of the camp for 2 weeks, I am the only qualified first aider and therefore the staff nurse. Can you imagine me doing that? Cards are coming, but here's wishing, Mom, you a most happy Mother's Day. We'll be thinking of you. Lots of love, and love to Bob. As always, Lois. Now here's one from Vince and Jeannie, written on May the 6th. Hi, Toots and Pops. Here we are back at the beach after a terrific honeymoon. We sure had a great time and enjoyed ourselves tremendously. We spent 5 lovely days down at Miami Beach. Boys, was that an expensive, wait a minute. Boys, was that an expensive seeing and visiting? Boys, was that ever it should have been, but he says an expensive seeing and visiting those big, beautiful hotels and motels. We stayed at a very fine place at the north end of the beach called the Coral Seas. We did quite a bit of driving around, sightseeing, and visiting these fabulous places. We saw the parrot jungle and the Spanish monastery. We also got some sun and were on the way to a fine suntan by the time we had to leave on Sunday the 20th of April. We drove up to Jacksonville on Sunday and after much searching finally found Cecil Field. Then we did more searching to find a motel to stay in. The motel was a quarter of a mile from the field, and Jane would drive me to school in the morning and then join me for lunch at noon at the BOQ. Her afternoons were spent at the pool till I joined her at the end of classes for the day. We ate supper at the BOQ too because the field is way out in the sticks and 20 miles west of Jacksonville. They cut us off a week early at school because the squadron got the news that we are not going to get the Crusader plane until next March of 1959. Of course, we were very, very disappointed. All except Jean, that is. She was very happy at the prospect of getting back to the apartment so she could get it fixed up. So we got back on Saturday the 26th. I started back to work on the Monday the 28th, but since Jean had told the boss at her job we'd be gone 3 weeks, she decided to stay at the apartment and fix it up the way she wanted it. So she started back to work yesterday. We have the wedding pictures now, and boy, did they turn out great. They are very, very good, except for a couple of shots. We certainly are very, very pleased with them. Oh, by the way, we received a letter from Bob last week and one from Pat today. We were so very happy to hear from them. Toots and Pops, we cannot tell you how much we enjoyed seeing you here for the wedding, especially the rehearsal and party afterwards, and the wedding reception also, just to be with us. We are so happy that you could make it down here. We are sorry that we couldn't spend more time with you, but I know you understood. And thanks so much, Pops, for driving Jean to the church and both of us to the reception afterward. We did enjoy the ride in Caddy, and of course she's in our pictures too, so we'll never forget her. I sure hope my folks enjoyed the wedding. We had one letter from them. Called them last week to let them know we were back, but they haven't said a thing about the wedding as yet. I hope they did enjoy it. We've gotten so many compliments on the wedding ourselves since we have been back. I'm sorry that you didn't get to see our little apartment while you were down here. It's real nice now. Jean has done a terrific job of fixing it up. If you're down this way, be sure and visit us. We have a spare room for you to stay in at any time, and we'd enjoy having you. The address is 416 22nd Street, Virginia Beach. And the phone is Garden 89039. Well, I guess I'd better sign off for now and let my lovely wife say a few words. Thanks again for coming down to the wedding and for all you have done. I love, Vince. Then a postscript put on here by Jean. Hi, folks. How are the two of my favorite people doing? Well, we are settled in our apartment now, and I have spent all of Vince's money fixing it up. Thanks so much for being so sweet to us at the wedding. I really enjoyed being driven around by you, Pop, even if it was the only four-door car available. Ha ha. We have our pictures of the wedding, and when I take them back, I will have one made for Bob's scrapbook. Thanks so much for the very nice note you wrote my parents. It was very sweet of you, and they really did appreciate it. Please come to see us one weekend real soon. We have a spare bedroom, as you know. You have been given all the facts about our trip by Vince, and all that. All that I have to add is that it was a wonderful honeymoon, which I hope we will never come off of. Vince is really a marvelous person. So long for now. I must write some more thank you notes. Love as always, Jean. This has caught you up, honey, with some of the letters, and which, as a rule, I do mail to you. But this way, why, you will get them almost as soon as we do, and get the news. And I feel sure they're from people that you really enjoy hearing from. So now I will going to stop long enough to get some lunch and eat with Pop, and then I'll pick it up later on, and hope maybe we can finish this and get it off to you today or early tomorrow. Here I am again, honey. This is Friday, May the 16th, to have another little chat with you. I was going to tell you, or I told you in the letter, that I was going to tell you about our conversation with Mrs. Hawkins. She called to report on their trip, said they had a wonderful trip out, and we were a little bit concerned when they started because the day they started, the papers were full of tornadoes all through the southern states, and we knew, and the central states too. And we knew they were going to take that route out. But she said that the good Lord was with them, and they must live right because they were ahead of all the storms, and they had no trouble whatsoever and had a wonderful drive out. They made it going out in 6.5 days, but took 7.5 coming home. As Hattie said, you know, we had something to pull us out there, so we hurried a little bit more. But she realized, as she told Bill, that they were getting a little bit older, and they couldn't push it as fast as they used to do trips. Betty Lee was just fine, and of course the baby was a doll, and she saw a great improvement in her naturally. It being some time since they had seen the baby. She said she never saw such a beautifully trained baby in her life. She couldn't get over the fact that Betty had 2 dishes of candy on the coffee table all the time. And she says, why, Betty, don't you want to pick up that candy so that the baby won't touch it? She says, oh, no, Mother. She won't touch that candy because she knows it is not hers. And the baby would go over to it and would point to one dish and say, "That's Daddy's." And then she'd go to the other one, she says, "That's Mommy's." And then she says, "But not mine." And so she never touched the candy. So Hattie couldn't get over that at all, as well as many other things that the baby did do and did not do. And she says she really is awfully pretty, if she does say so herself. And Betty Lee, of course, keeps her perfectly beautifully. Then the other thing that impressed Hattie was the fact that about her eating. She said that Betty always asked her for breakfast what she would like to have, how she would like to have her egg, and which cereal she'd like. And then she fixed it for her. And the baby had to eat that. And she says if she would change her mind and say, "Well, I don't want the poached egg, Mommy," after she got it, she'd say, "Well, you were the one who said that you wanted it, and I gave you your choice, so now you must eat it." And she says there was no question about it or no tears whatsoever, but she ate what was put before her at all times. So Betty Lee really is a wonderful little mother, as we saw ourselves when we were out there last year. She did not say too much about Mac at all. The only thing, in fact, that she did mention about Mac was that they were very anxious for Betty and the baby to return home with them. But she said that they told Betty that she knew very well, and so did Mac, that they were all welcome at any time, and they just would love naturally to have them come home. But it was up to them to make the decision, and not for them. So Betty Lee thought it over and decided that she would come in September, because then Max expected to be out at sea for a while, and she thought that would be much better for her to do. So they're hoping that she will not attempt to come across the country in the car with the baby alone, but will come by either plane or train. That's what they asked her to do. So she said that, boys, it was harder to be home here without them now after she'd seen them than it was beforehand. She says, really, it just tears your heart out to see that little one and to think that they're at this end of the country. Well, we know how that was, all three of us, because after we had Kathy here, you know how hard it was and how much the three of us missed her when Lois and she went back home. She said Betty looked fine, except she thought she was a little bit thin, and Betty was thrilled to think that she had again gotten into a number 7 dress. Gosh, can you imagine that? Boys, here I'm trying to keep down to her 16 and think of anyone getting into her 7. She says that Bill Hawkins kids her a lot. Says he called her the other day about 10 times and he couldn't get her. And he said, "Where have you been?" And she says, "Well, I haven't been away any place particularly." And he says, "Well, you weren't home. That was a certain thing." She says, "Because I've been trying to get you." She says, "Well, you know, Bill, I just have to go out now and keep busy because I miss the folks so much." And he says, "Well, I know just how you feel, so I don't blame you one bit. But," says, "I just got a kick out of you telling me you were home here working when I knew doggone well you weren't. Doesn't that just sound like him?" They are really fine folks and a lot of fun. I get a great kick out of talking to her, and I think they both have made wonderful parents and also in-laws by all means. She said that they didn't want to interfere with anything at all, and they made up their mind to that. When Betty got married, they told her no matter who she picked out, why they would go along with her and would take him into their hearts. But I do notice that they never say too much about Mac. In fact, that's all she did say about Mac, was about him going away on the trip. She was very much interested in the Miriam, of course, and said that they had offered to do so many things. And Hattie has been going over there and cutting the grass because she doesn't want Bill to do it, because several years ago he had that slight heart attack. So she's been doing that, and he's been doing the other odd jobs, and they had reduced the rent to $125 for Miriam and said they'd keep the lawn up if she could stay there. But of course she said that she couldn't, and now they're standing beside to do anything they can to help her to move. We sure did get the greatest kick out of your explanation of Dottie's birthday gift to you. Honestly, she is certainly a practical joker. I can just see you when you opened that box. We were interested to know what it was all about because she had written that she was sending you something which had been a great joke when you were down in Corpus Christi, and it really was a riot to hear you tell about it. I remember the days when we were down there, when the girls were over there, and how you all would get in a discussion about Texas and the different things down there and how they would hold up for their state of Texas, and you all would ride them to death. And we had so much fun over it. I think I started to tell you the other day when I got screwed up on this tape about the Digginses' party. It really was a beautiful affair. As you know, Mona, she loves pink, so everything at the party was in pink and white. She had made a beautiful pink organdy tablecloth for the occasion, and it had a pink vase with pink and white flowers in it, and the mints were pink and white, and everything was pink and white for the whole party. She had the Columbia Bakery up here to cater for her, and they did a wonderful job. She had 2 huge turkeys at one end of the table, a great big beautiful decorated baked ham at the other, and 2 chafing dishes filled with hot hors d'oeuvres, plus the little rolls and small-sized bread for the sandwiches, salted nuts all on the table. And then the waiters passed around nothing but champagne the whole time, and little tiny sandwiches and some of the other hot hors d'oeuvres. They had invited 165, but she said about 125 came. I got a great kick out of it because every time we turned around, when someone would migrate to the porch or the yard, the next thing I knew, they were over here in our yard walking around admiring our yard and garden, and it was at its height last week. So they'd come and ask whose it was, and then Mona would say it was Herb's, and so then Herb would take them around, so he was having a grand time taking everybody around in the yard. The thing I wanted to tell you about Pop Hedger and his experience, I think you'll get a great kick out of. You know how Mom Hedger is about anyone drinking. She's much broader now than she was a couple of years ago. Well, it seems that this brunch that Aunt Millie gave, they were rather doubtful about going at first because they had a dinner engagement on, but Aunt Millie said that it would start at 10 in the morning and they would serve breakfast at 11, so they decided to go. And they were to have 1 drink before the breakfast. They served marguerites and something else. I never heard of a marguerite, but anyway, that's what they served. So as Everett said, it was 1 drink, but before your glass was emptied, while the waiters were coming around, as always, she had caterers to do the job for her, and they were refilling the glasses. So she said the 1 drink lasted was a pretty long one. Finally, one of the other men who was feeling pretty good, Pop Hedges said, insisted upon him going in swimming with him. So he said he finally went in swimming with him. And he said he dashed into the water, he said, and it felt so good. And the next thing he realized he had his watch on. So he waved frantically for Mom Hedger to come and rescue the watch. But of course it was too late. It had gotten soaked and had to go to jewelers. So then he said he went on and he had a wonderful swim. They came back and they were sitting down and were about ready to have breakfast when somebody came up out of the pool and had this object in their hand and went around. He says, I have found something at the bottom of the pool. To whom do these glasses belong? So Pop Hedger, they all said, oh, not mine. Pop Hedger says, well, they certainly don't belong to me. I've got my glasses right here in the case. So and he looked, and the case was empty, and so they were Pop Hedger's glass. So he says he never heard the end of that. First jumping in the pool with his watch on, and then losing it, going in with the glasses on and losing the glasses at the bottom of the pool. He said Vera really got a kick out of it, which he says a couple of years ago she wouldn't have, but she did. But says the thing she didn't get a kick out of was that their friend Helen Burke was there, and she had had just enough drinks without any breakfast that they missed her when breakfast was served, and they couldn't find her. And finally, they found her in the house, and she was out like a light. So says Vera didn't appreciate that very much. Then the joke on Mom Hedger was, you know, I told you in the letter that she stopped off in South Dakota to visit her uncle. Well, it seems her uncle is 84 years old, and the son has been blind since early childhood, and he married a girl from the blind school who was also blind. So it makes it very hard for anyone to visit there because they can do very well and do the cooking and the things in the house, but they know just where everything is. So Vera always feels that if she would go there and might accidentally move something, it would confuse them. So when they go, they generally stay at a motel nearby, which she did this time. So Pop Hedger first thought he was going to write her on Mother's Day. Then he decided, oh, heck no, it's Mother's Day. I'm going to call her up. So he called up at the house to think maybe she'd be there, and she wasn't. So they gave him the name of the motel where she was staying. So Pop Hedger put a call in the motel, and then he realized that with the daylight saving, he didn't know whether it would be 8:30 in the morning or 10:30 in the morning due to the change of time and plus the difference of the hours in that section of the country. So he told the operator to please ask him at the motel if she was sleeping, not to disturb her, and he would call later. He says it took 15 minutes for the call to come through, and this old country hick answered the phone, and he said, "Yeah, yeah, who you calling? Who you calling?" Finally, the operator said, "Well, Mrs. Hedger, but if she is sleeping, why, don't disturb her." And finally, a little while later, this country hick came back to the phone and said, "Huh? Huh? What did you say? Who's she sleeping with? Who's she sleeping with, did you say?" So Pop got the greatest kick out of it, and I can understand it because you know Mom Hedger and how proper she is and all. Well, he says it was just a riot. So when she got to the phone, he says, "Well, honey," he says, "Happy Mother's Day, but who have you been sleeping with?" She couldn't get what he was trying to say to her. She says, "I'm sleeping with no one. What do you mean?" And says, then finally she just laughed and laughed and got the greatest kick out of it. He says, "That was too good to be true on Vera." Well, dear, I know that Pop wants to say something to you, and I have been rambling on trying to quote letters to you and tell you of different things that have been happening around here and all. But before I sign off and Pop takes over to say a few words to you, I want to again tell you how much that telephone call meant to me and also to Pop, just to hear your voice. You have done so very many lovely things and thoughtful things for both of us. But honestly, that was one of the nicest things in the world, to think that you thought of me on Mother's Day and that you were so far away and that you did put in that call to me. I really am still on top of the clouds over it and thrilled to death. And if you could have only seen me when that operator said Hong Kong calling, why, I nearly flew through the top of the ceiling with joy and excitement. And it was just so wonderful hearing your voice. It was really, you were just as close as if you were right here with us. And oh well, it was just wonderful anyway, honey. I was just thrilled, and thanks a million for doing it for me. You are just darn sweet. That's all.
Bob, I don't know whether I'll get through with this or not, but I am going to try to play for you Lieberstrong, Dream of Love by Frank Liszt. I hope the hell I don't have to erase it about 10,000 times before I get something that's presentable. Here it goes. Well, fella, I guess that's the best I can do. It's not perfect by any means, but as it is, I think I have started it about 4 times, and this is the best of the batch. So take it for what it is. It's just an attempt of mine to give you a little pleasure, which I hope it will do. Don't play it before the fellows because, my God, I'm not a pianist by any means, and it sounds like hell to anybody except those that are interested in us. Sure wish I could keep on with that for you because I know how much you like it, but it has gone beyond my uh, stiff old fingers nowadays. Did you think that Moonlight on the Hudson was a little better as far as overall tone than the Lieberstrong? The reason I ask is that in the Lieberstrong, I had the mic sitting just above the opening in the back of the piano, where in this I had it sitting on top of the piano, so it would get the notes as they vibrated through the room. Possibly that it was better because to me it sounded like my bass and treble were about equal, where before it sounded as though the treble outshone the bass. I tried to rectify that by putting the mic in the center of the piano, but I don't think even that works as well. The tape's about gone, kid, so I'll say so long for now and let room enough for Mom to say goodbye.
Here I am again back from over Bethesda and stopping in to see Miriam. Tomorrow is a red line day we're going, and she's still in tears and griping. Uh, Going tomorrow. Goodbye.
Hi, fella. We just started this over, and guess what we were doing? We were playing it on 7.5 inches. This is after midnight on Friday, April the 25th. Believe it or not, we're all sober, but I don't know whether this guy that's going to talk to you now is or not. Here he is.
What do you say, you old rascal? I understand you're now a geisha girl expert. Something I never experienced since I was over in the European theater of operation. By now you ought to recognize the voice. You mean you haven't recognized the voice yet? You certainly ought to know by now. I've gathered, rather you might say I've listened to some of your experiences here, which brings back some memorable times. I certainly envy your present position, particularly where you're located now and having so much fun with your buddies over there. Likewise, the important spots which you'll want to recall, and I hope that you can, particularly if this tape is playable at later dates. I understand that you might possibly be returning shortly. I certainly hope that you can put in a little stay here at home and visit your folks. Likewise, that I can see you and perhaps show you a business operation which I've more or less ventured into and hope to make a real success out of. This has been a very entertaining evening with your mom and dad here, which appear to be like my mom and dad as well, inciting past experiences that you've had, I've had, Herb's had, other friends, and so on and so forth. Likewise, some embarrassing moments that we just finished discussing and laughed ourselves to death. I'm right now seem to be running out of words, so I'll pass this back to Pop. Possibly Mom want to say a few words to you.
I'm sure that you recognize this voice that's just been talking to you. We had a grand surprise tonight by him dropping in around about 7:30. Thank goodness Blanche Birch called up and canceled the evening over there, so we have really had a ball here tonight and have laughed harder than we have for a long time, telling of some crazy experiences. So I know you know who it is. We're only sorry that Dory is not here with him. We have been interested here in Ferris telling us all about his office. He stopped in the other night to tell us a couple of weeks ago, but we were going out, so he came back tonight. And Pop says to get us to invest in his proposition. But anyway, we've been most interested, and we certainly do wish him all the success in the world, and he deserves it all, both he and Dory. And he's gotten his office all fixed up now, and the furniture in, and he's got his sign on his window over the door, and the electrical sign is going up soon. He wants us to come over and see his office, so that we sure will do.
Bob, I know that your Mom and Dad are looking forward to having you return shortly, and I hope that when you put in a visit back in old Chevy Chase, that you drop by and visit my office. I'd like to let you know exactly what type of operation I'm in. Of course, you've already probably suspected it's a loan business.
Bobby's ready to soak you too.
You don't mind that, do you? I've got a wonderful investment for you, fella. And I'm counting on you when you do come back to drop in and see me. We'll get together. Perhaps you've improved on your golf game. If not, I'd like to hear some of those tall tales you've been telling us here lately. Okay. In the meantime, take good care of yourself, and above all, let us hear from you.
Hello, Bob. This is old Eggman Sopa. How you doing, boy?
Hi, honey. Here I am at long last, so to say hello to you. I thought I'd get a chance to say hello to you long before this. However, I told you some of the things in the highlight of Mom Hedges' letter the other day. I saved some to tell you here on the tape because I thought I could read it to you better. Let me see. She says, Dear Kitty and Herb, it has taken a long time to learn when the hearings in D.C. were to be held, but early this week the time was set. We will leave here on Thursday, May the 8th, with the hearings to be 12th, 13th, and 14th, I believe. I think that's what I told you in the letter. Mr. Salisbury will be coming along with Pop Hedger this time. And as I told you in the letter, he'll pick up the Buick in Flint on May the 16th and then pick up Mom Hedger on his way back. Seems that we have never been home for several years now for Kathy's birthday, but we will not be there again this year, for we are going to join some of the TVO families at Grand Park up north before we return. When we were in Phoenix early in April, we consulted with the city and county heads on flood control work for Phoenix. and came by our ranch on the way home and found not only our ranch and the desert in bloom, but our well on the ranch full to overflowing, which made us happy. Thank you so very much for your nice Easter card. We were here at the beach that weekend working on the beach house. Barbara helped me bring down our living room. Well, she left out the word. Where a living room rug should be for the beach house. And it surely helps quiet the place down, for the old rug without a pad wasn't much good. Also, we have a little television set we had given my dad down here now, and a new FM radio. So that makes the cottage much more comfortable and enjoyable. Finally, I have just finished carpeting our home. It is a gray-green nylon carpet in the hall entry, the living room, the dining room, and the den. Then new drapes in the living room, also gray-green, and a new fireplace pull screen. So it really dresses up the old house quite a bit. They really have done some renovating up there, haven't they? It's just grand. I'm so happy for them. Last night, Nancy had some friends and neighbors in, and we showed our slides again. Tomorrow, Sunday, on our way home, we stop in Norwalk and show them to my cousin's family. That will finish our showing of the Indian pictures. We surely have kept them hot since our return. My cousin's wife, Laura, and her children are so homesick they plan to return to South Dakota. Hi. As soon as school is over. Don't know how it will turn out, for Howard, that's her cousin, has a good job, and he loves it here. If you recall, kid, that's the cousin that Mom Hedger was so upset about this past summer coming there to live, and she said that they'd always lived on a farm, and she didn't know how they were going to make out in the city because they had no city ways at all. Apparently, he's fallen into it very well, but she has not. A bad little bug hit the Donahues last week, starting on Friday with Kelly, Saturday Roy, Sunday Lois, and Sunday night Kathy and Kim. So we took Kelly home with us on Sunday and kept him Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, and so that Lois could get on her feet, as she was hit the hardest of them all, but they are all now okay. This is some news which you will be very happy to hear, and also so surprised, I believe, as we were. I kept Kelly yesterday from 11 until 4 while Bob's and Lois went to the farmer's market to meet and have lunch with Judy, Barb's neighbor. Kept Alan from noon, and when he came home from school. It's hard to read this letter and hold this mic. I'm getting all screwed up. On Bob's return home, she learned from Bill that their new baby will be expecting to go home with them on Monday. They surely have waited a long time for her. She is an 8-month-old baby girl, born August the 19th. At that time weighed 7 pounds and 1 ounce, and now weighs 16 pounds and 14 ounces. Has dark blue eyes, fair skin, and brown auburn hair. Due to some legal trouble that had to be straightened out has been the reason for the delay. They are so happy, and Alan is delighted to have a little baby sister. The name, I think, will be Janet Lynn. I went to brunch at Mildred's and Bob's last Sunday. They had about 20 guests, and most of us went swimming. The water was wonderful, and Mildred and Bob left for an Eastern convention last Thursday, the 24th. On May the 2nd, they leave New York on the United States, and after several weeks sightseeing abroad, expect to return about June the 7th. Kathy is doing very well with her music and really seems to like it, but will have to have some help with her schoolwork during the summer. That's too bad that she seems to be having difficulty. I just don't know what the trouble is. Guess it's just one of those things. And she'll snap out of it as she gets a little older. Lee was expecting a transfer to a new job about July, but they surprised him by giving it to him 3 months earlier. He likes a change fine. Roy surely likes his work and the people he works with. That's wonderful. It certainly is wonderful, and I'm so happy because it just made us sick to see how unhappy that poor boy was last summer when we were there. Hope all is well with you folks and that your winter is finally over. How is Bob and where is he? And please give him our love. Malcolm Jones of D.C. was with us for dinner and the night last Tuesday. That's a friend of theirs and used to work with Pop Hedger. He was checking some of the exchange students at the different universities here. He said you really did have a terrific winter and plenty of snow there, so spring will be more than welcome this year. Lots of love to all. Vera. It sure will be nice seeing Pop Hedger. I don't know whether we'll get a chance to see Mr. Salisbury or not. Of course, this trip is going to be such a hurried one, and they have been writing that that's the case. Of course, he's going to try to show him some of the work that's to be done here in the city. I'm sorry that Mom Hedger's not going to get to be here, too. But maybe we'll get some first-hand information from Pop about all the folks out west, which will be wonderful, and we'll pass it on to you. Well, bye for now, and I'll pick this up again tomorrow and see if I have some more news to tell you, dear.
Okay, kid, here we are starting again. This is Sunday evening, April the 11th. I think that's the date. May, I beg your pardon. Mother says May, so you know Mother's always right. Let's go.
Okay. Hi, Bob. If anybody would ever have told me I wouldn't know what to say, I would have said, but you know, I'm stumped. All I can think of is, how are you? We're fine. And we've just finished listening to all the tapes you sent home, and they've been most interesting. The only thing is, boy, you're having a terribly hard time. No parties, no girls, no sightseeing. All work and no play certainly must make you awfully dull. Ada and Raymond don't know what to say next, but I'm going to stick 'em on, too, because now I can't think of anything else to say, so bye for now.
Hello, Bobby. How are you? I certainly am glad you're clean. How wonderful it must be to be washed down by a woman. Did you enjoy it? Did she stop anywhere? Or did she just keep on going? We've had a very nice time with Mama and Papa. Only they eat too much, Bob. We haven't anything left. I wish you were here. Take care of yourself, and please be good. But what's the use? Goodbye.
Say, Bob, I certainly was glad to hear on one of those rolls where you had done a little work. The only thing your father played was you're going to parties and getting a hot shower bath or something like that. I might have mispronounced it. Hotchie bath. Your father just corrected me. How's it feel to get a woman to wash you down, boy? Did she do everything, or did she do like they do in the hospital? Go halfway down and you do the rest. Take care of yourself, boy. And you sound very good. Why don't you get out of the Navy and get a job as an announcer on television? Okay, boy, take care of yourself, and when you get over to see us.
I'm ready. Let her go.
That's your darling little niece, Trudy, saying, "Hello, Cousin Bobby, how are you?" I'll try to pull Misty's tail, but I don't think that'll work.
You know, Bob, in working this record machine that we have, there's what's called a record button. And the only way the darn thing works is for you to hold the record button down and then push the play button down, and then both of them stay down, and after that, why, you can record. Last night after dinner, I was out in the yard watering, and Mother asked me, well, she told you on here, where she stuck the plug, whether it was in the input or the output. And I said, well, Kits, what do you want to do? Do you want to input or do you want to output? She says, I want to input. I said, well, hell, then put it in the input button. But she said, what's the output for? Where is that? And I said, well, if you want to connect up your recorder to another loudspeaker, that would be an output. So we settled that. So she came in and she fixed the machine. And she came out, she said, well, I finished this one side of the tape for Bob, and I'll start on the other side tomorrow. So I said, fine. This morning at breakfast, I said, are you sure that everything was working properly when you recorded for Bob last night? She said, yes. The 2 buttons were down. Well, I said, don't you think I better had try it for you so that to see whether it has worked? Well, yeah, go ahead. I tried it. Hell, nothing but blanks. So here she has to go all over again, kid.
Hi, Bob. This is Pop Hedger. This is the 14th of May in 1958, and I'm out to see your Pop and Mom for the first time in quite a while. They've been telling me something about what you've been doing over there in Japan and going to Hong Kong and so forth. I don't know if they told me everything that you've been doing, but what they told me sounded pretty interesting anyway. I think it's too bad that you weren't over there a few months before, because, you know, Vera and I went through Tokyo in November on the way to India, and then stopped in Hong Kong for a day en route too. I suppose that you got to see quite a few of the same things that we did there. We went over to Aberdeen, where the people live on the fishing boats, and we stopped to see the Tiger Balm Gardens. I suppose you saw that if you had a chance to get any liberty over there. And if you did, why, you probably feel the same as we did, that it's quite a strange and interesting place. I understand that you're planning on coming back to this country before long, and it'll sure be good to see you back again. When you get back to California, don't forget where we live, and in the meantime, why, good sailing, boy. So long.
Here I am once again after screwing up this tape so many times. It's uncanny how dumb one idiot can be, but I seem to be it. Didn't Pop Hedger sound wonderful and natural? To me, outside of you, why, he's about the most natural one on this tape recording. However, I do believe that Uncle Ray and Awie sounded pretty good too. I know you got quite a kick out of their chat with you, particularly about them kidding you regarding the Hotsy Beds. Didn't that sound just like Awie and Uncle Ray and the women washing you down? We were so happy that our visit last Sunday turned out as well as it did, and we really had a very enjoyable evening in the end. But after talking with the folks on the phone early in the morning, why, we just didn't know what to expect, because Uncle Ray was definitely pretty much upset about them insisting upon him going to the hospital, and that he was refusing to go, and that he was feeling worse and worse every day, and that Awie was upset over his condition, and that she was sick, and so on. And then when she got on the phone, why, she was, of course, down in the dumps and pretty much upset and wanted us to come over and help straighten things out. So we went over there with not too good a feeling in our heart, not knowing what we were going to have to straighten out. And then our greeting was such as I told you in the letter, so that made us wonder a little bit more. However, everything turned out all right, and Uncle Ray seemed to look better and seemed to be calmer than he had been for the last 2 or 3 times that we have been over there. Before I got screwed up on this tape like an idiot the other day, I had quoted a letter to you from Cousin Fran and Toonie. Now I have answered the letter and torn it up, so I'll just try to tell you a few of the details. They leave tomorrow morning for, Myrtle Beach, and she didn't say for how long. And we're very happy they're going, because I think that John has become much worse. We noticed quite a difference when we were up there, and it does get on France's nerves quite a bit, and then, of course, in turn, it upsets Toonie, too. So it is too bad that Johnny will not be able to go with them. He doesn't feel equal to it, and Frances says definitely he is not. So she's much upset about putting him into a nursing home. However, it is a brand new one, and it seems to have a lot of conveniences, and the people there seem to be pretty kind. So I don't think she will worry as much on the trip knowing that he is there for the time rather than being with the Hearns. So the Hearns very carefully offered to take care of him, but uh, Frances was concerned about Mrs. Hearn having to wait on him and Johnny smoking the cigarettes, shaking the way he does, and wanting to watch television morning, noon, and night. Of course, the Hearns live in an apartment, and everything is pretty much compact, so you couldn't get away from him or from the television going all day long. So this way, I think it'll work out fine. I didn't ask him to come down for lunch, thinking we were moving Miriam tomorrow, but I did ask him to stop by for lunch on the return trip with the Davises, so we'll hope we'll have a chat with them then. I have a couple of letters here that I thought if I quoted them to you and before I answered them, why you would be hearing the same news as we did much quicker. Got a lovely letter, as always, from Margaret and Bud. Let's see, quote, Dear Mom and Pop, as you see, we finally left Denver, and we were very glad, although we enjoyed it very much, except for the motel rates we had to experience for months. I like Denver and love to shop there. We were assigned exactly where we didn't think that we would be. For the last engineer finishing his training program was sent here, and Central Wyoming at that. We are in a continental camp consisting of the company employees and a trailer camp of the contractors' employees. The company houses are very nice, in fact the best house we have been in as yet. We have 2 bedrooms, a bath, a large living room with small dining area off of it, kitchen, glass and screened-in back porch, full basement, garage, and a nice level lawn with grass underscored, and a few bushes. Our house has been newly painted and in a very good condition. The rent is just $43 a month, including utilities, so maybe we can start getting ahead somewhat. I have been busy getting things organized and making drapes for the living room and bedroom. We need a lot of little things we haven't gotten during the past year traveling, but it takes time, and we will gradually get them. I did get an electric double oven, Admiral range. The lower oven has a rotisserie and built-in with a meat thermometer. I really enjoy it a lot. They have made quite an improvement on the ranges, haven't they, Mom? We are 65 miles north of Casper and 19 miles east of Midwest. I go to Casper to do my grocery shopping, as the prices on food here are terrible. We go every 2 weeks, so I usually spend the whole day shopping for things that we need. The nearest doctor is at Midwest. Those are the biggest disadvantages, but everyone says we will get used to it. We expect to be here at least 2 years, and lucky if we leave before. Nearly all the engineers are here 1.5 to 2 years. One left Saturday with his family for Ventura, California, where he was transferred. Lloyd took his place. There are nearly 100 families in the 2 camps here. The other one is 6 miles east of us. We have a small grocery store, a post office, a bar, and a recreation hall, which is very nice. The people are very friendly, and really you can't imagine you are so far from nowhere as there is this routine life here where we live. The grade school has 120 students and 8 teachers plus the principal. That is a lot better than most schools here. We hold our Sunday school and church services at the recreation hall, which is better than none. Doug really enjoys it too. The first Wednesday I was here, I started my first lesson in bridge. I think I will like it a lot, but right now it is somewhat confusing to me. Ladies' night is every other Wednesday, excuse me, and couples night is the first Saturday of every month. Lloyd is going to start next month. The company has a golf course here, a little rough, but Lloyd enjoys playing golf and has spent quite a few evenings playing. He has been trying to teach me. You should have seen me with my first lesson. Lloyd was so sure I could hit the ball, but I soon changed that opinion. From about 18 tries, I hit 1 good ball. The last couple times, I am at least hitting it. We got Doug a small golf club and a ball at the dime store, so he plays with us and seldom misses. After my first day of missing the ball, Doug would say, "Mommy misses the ball." When I finally hit one, he gets so excited. Kathy loves the outdoors, so she loves all the room to run and usually wears herself out. Yesterday, Lloyd took on another activity which he loves very much, coaching the little league boys 8 to 12 years old with another man helping him. He's going to be a busy man this summer, but he loves it. Pop, our only scenery is rolling hills with some evergreens. Lloyd said if you ever saw this, you would say how crazy he is. That's the only thing we dislike about the oil industry, always moving and not too populated areas, but maybe someday we'll be in Denver or Casper or maybe even in Houston at the home office. The children are fine. Doug loves it here, for he has millions of playmates his own age. This is the first place we have lived that he has had boys to play with. He's gotten a tan already. Kathy loves to get outdoors, and the minute Lloyd gets home, she gets her sweater across her arm and says bye-bye. Lloyd will get plenty of experience in the field here. He and another engineer will be in charge of a field in the gas plant. Soon they will begin using liquid gas to force more oil out, so right now he is working on the plans for the plant they will be using in the project. We get our vacation June the 28th to July the 14th. It won't be too long now. We are so used to the barren, rocky region, it will seem strange if we do get a chance to get east to see the green grass and some shrubbery around. We are wondering if we'll be able to take the humidity at that time of the year if we do get east. We have had a beautiful spring weather, except today is rainy and cloudy. Mom, have a nice Mother's Day and take care of yourselves. We hope that sometime before too long that we'll may be able to see you. How is Bob? And when you write him, please give him our love as always. You asked me when my birthday is. Well, I'm a little groundhog baby born on February the 2nd. I wrote and asked the kid when her birthday was because I felt badly. I knew both of the children in Lloyd's and always could send them a birthday card from us, but I never knew Margaret, so I wrote and told her. I said it wasn't that we were forgetting her. It was just a case that I just didn't know, so would she please tell me so I could put it down in my little birthday book. So now I have it, and I won't be forgetting her. They are fine kids, and we're so happy that they're finally settled at a place for at least a couple of years. And this way, they really can get themselves organized and get back on their feet. Then the little thank you note from Janie Schaefer in regard to the wedding gift we sent her. Dear Toots, Bob, and Pops, I just love the pretty compote bowls and candle holders. I think it is so clever that the two things are together, and I have never seen anything like it before. Bob, my hubby, and I really do appreciate your thoughtfulness of us. How have you all been? Do let us know. I have thought of you so often and know you'll be anxious for summer to arrive and for Bob to return back to the States and maybe home. I haven't heard from Dottie lately, but I know that she's awfully busy teaching school, and probably I will be hearing in a few days or a week. This teaching school and just married keeps me on the go. I hope you all are fine, and maybe Bob will be stationed sometime in the future near us so we all can see each other again. Love, Janie. Here's one from Lois. Dear Mom and Pop, you will probably hear the news from them before this reaches you, but the excitement here at present is over Bob's and Bill's little girl. They picked her up on Monday after 2.5 years of waiting. She's 8 months old and was held for them while some legal matters were cleared up. She's fair complexion with dark eyes and hair and just a sweet little doll. I think I'm making a pest of myself running up to see her so often. Kelly and I are here waiting for Kathy to finish her lesson, and if this letter is somewhat disjointed, it's because he has the two Warners No, it's not the two Warners. I took it as a figure two. It's I Warners, in quotes. Those old bugs that nip you sure did get us out here. We were expecting Mother and Daddy for dinner a week ago Sunday, and just before they arrived, I got sick with the intestinal flu. It just struck like lightning. Then both girls got it, and it took the pep out of all of us for a few days. All are fine now, however. Mother and Daddy are leaving on the 9th of May. Daddy for Washington. Mother is going to stop in South Dakota to visit her uncle. When Daddy is through with his business in D.C., he will go to Detroit and pick up a new Buick. Then on to South Dakota to pick up Mother, so she won't be coming all the way to Washington. Aunt Millie and Uncle Bob left last week for Nassau for a business convention or something.